Alright guys, boy howdy, how y'all doing? We are currently waiting on the next match to get started, but it looks like it's going to be HeroMarine versus Snute. It would have been really cool to see the Muslim, because I heard good things about his results leading into this, beating Hearthstone. Like, what? But he'll have the losers bracket, so he'll still play out in. Either side of the brackets, Nurture versus Euthermal. Either way, these are going to be two good TVZs, and you guys voted on Snutes just a little bit more. Personally, threw my hat in with Euthermal versus Nurture, just because we've seen that match so many times. Would have loved to have seen how that plays out, but Snute just messaged me the maps. I'm going to copy paste that. Whoops.
Amazing.
Frozen Frost Galactic, if you want to get that host up, madam. We also have to make sure to invite Monk as well, as he'll be refereeing the games going forward.
Okay. But he said semifinals, but it's all good.
Maybe he's a little bit anxious. I don't. Maybe he just wants to watch his boy play. I don't know. It's Team Liquid Monk. Evidently, people in chat are saying Wardy will be showing the Euthermal Nurture series. Thank you very much. So that's where you guys can head on over if you want to watch that one play out. But I think Snute versus HeroMarine is going to be interesting. HeroMarine has actually been tearing it up. Got out of school, started going full time. Already a pretty good player. He's been streaming a lot too. Kudos to that. The only reason he didn't stream like yesterday or this morning or something is because Beyond was streaming, and I think it's because every Terran player wants to watch Beyond, learn from Senpai.
That's why I didn't. I actually woke up at 6:30.
Wow, impressive.
I know, right? Because I don't know, my body just woke up. I really think that the ideal number of hours for me to sleep is 6.
This whole like my body thing with you is getting so out of hand. Like I've been hearing this like excuse for like a year now. Okay, at some point you're gonna have to accept it's you. Like,
I think that you are the one that's mistaken, because if you can like willpower through things, it's more of your mind. But like I didn't choose to wake up at 6:30. I didn't tell my body to wake up at 6:30. It just woke up, and I was like, oh, okay, and I can't go back to sleep. There is a difference between your mind and your body, man. Okay. What do you do with magic? God. Okay. Hooray! Well, thanks to everyone who resubbed during that break, by the way. Oh, yeah. Bit to wear. Okay. In the bottom right, as the blue Terran, he's HeroMarine. Yeah, recently winning WCS Mexico and looking very good in all the online stuff that he plays.
I was only muted for a few seconds though, whenever my last coughing fit was. So, okay. TLDR, what I was saying, first off, hey guys, it's Liquid Snute in the top left. But also, just commenting on, I think a lot of favoritism goes towards Snute on this one. But HeroMarine is pulling out all the stops early on with the 2 racks opener. I'm not sure if I'll throw in a third one for super dedication to Reapers, but the thing that's really interesting is by building like this, it actually creates a very quick wall to your natural.
Yep. He does build the third one,
Yeah.
by the way, so pretty cool. Thanks to Nomish Lich for the 18-month resub.
Oh, that means all the resubs are shut out. Also missed. Okay, Nomus List just hit us up. Cover everyone else just to make sure, because I don't know what was muted or what wasn't muted. It's the room for the 23 months. Thank you very much. Jono1232 for the 8 months. Thank you so much. Perk Stream hits us with 18 months. Says we look fabulous. I say thank you very much. If only Hydras had more range. Resub for 2 months. If only. And then last but not least, Strillo hit us up with a 7-month resub. Says thanks for your good work.
There you go. Everything's covered now. So, right, the 3 Racks Reaper commencing as seen. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, it's a supply depot back there. Okay, so those. All right. So it's a 3 Racks Reaper. The buildings are in different locations, and this makes this easier to transition out of. But Reapers haven't really been that difficult to transition out of. Like there's very little that a Zerg player can do to counterattack and actually threaten you. So most of the time, you do see the command centers go on the low ground, and even a third command center go on the high ground without much fear from the Terran player. Even if they do get Ravagers, even if they are pushed back, as long as they have the Reapers alive, it's usually too much to move across the map.
What I find interesting about this is Snute has in the past been a guy who used a lot of speedlings and good control, more so on stopping this. Players, I'd say, over the last few months have started adapting the Roach Ravager version of defense for this, and it's because Reapers have become more and more prevalent. But it's cool to see him go straight to it. We don't actually see any investment in speed, it's just roaches, more roaches. And the thing I like about this is the Ravagers can actually perform really nice counterattacks too, not just stopping the Reapers.
Yeah, 8 roaches is actually quite a significant amount. I think you'd really get away with like 4 and turning them into Ravagers, but especially because he has so many Queen Fists.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, Snute might not just be looking for a couple of defensive units here. He might be looking to counter afterwards. On the other hand, though, this might be something Snute struggled with in the past, and his overreaction is based on, 4 roaches not cutting it when it should in the past.
That's also what I'm thinking towards it. It's like, okay, this has been overwhelmed before, because I really don't think even if he had Speedlings with this and he really just all in return, I don't think it's a very good move to do against Reapers unless you can kill them first. So I would actually hope he doesn't push out, and he doesn't. So it seems like it was one of those, okay, I've lost to this too much in the past to under-defend. And now he goes back to droning. But HeroMarine, he already got his command center, he's getting an orbital. He does not go for the quick 3rd CC, but instead goes for the production, getting his medevacs.
By the way, we're of course on stream delays now seeing the fallout of the mutes on stream, and I would like to say, I think you guys would prefer a few moments of gaffed up muting opposed to my hacking and coughing so I'm going to have to listen to it, but I can't do it to her. Feels bad, man.
Don't even notice it.
Well, the roaches are one thing, but the Ravagers are certainly what solidifies this. But HeroMarine, we usually actually see some players will go for like the 3cc follow-up for this. Instead, it's dedicating to quicker medevacs. I can't say I'm a super fan of this move, because I feel like if you can get greedy behind it, you should absolutely do so. But this may also be him not necessarily worried about playing a perfect follow-up, but also worried like, man, that's a lot of roaches, that's a lot of Ravagers, like I actually will need units, and I can't play greedy. So incidentally, maybe Snute's overreaction caused an overreaction in HeroMarine, I don't know, but either way, it's not like there's going to be really fast tanks out, it's just Marines and those medevacs they'll be dropping as that 2-drop commences.
Yeah. I mean, you go for the 3rd CC, this does delay the medevacs off for like a minute, so it is a question of like, do you want to continue being aggressive, or do you want that like super greed, which, honestly, this is like a pretty smooth build anyway for HeroMarine. It's not like he's going to be super oversaturated on 2 bases while he desperately tries to get a 3rd base. It should be pretty easy going from here on out, and it's actually going to be a lot more about how Snute defends than what HeroMarine is doing, so we're focusing a lot more on this side of the map.
Yeah, I like he's turning in these rocks too, because of course how common it is those tanks come in, but he wasn't ready for these 2 drops, and the Marines have stims, so just running right past the Corrosive Bios, focusing down the Ravagers. I don't know if Snute can actually produce enough units to stop this in time. 3rd base is going to get canceled.
Absolutely, and that's devastating. He was supposed to be ready for that. I would say almost no problem, but he might have thought it was a 3rd CC build. He might have just, I don't know, he didn't think I was going to attack that soon, or go to a different location, I'm not sure. That was pretty devastating. Gonna lose a couple more roaches, I would say. I can't take that on quite much, but HeroMarine knows took a really good engagement.
Yeah, not the end of the game, but certainly damage Snute was not anticipating. He takes another base down here to the south, A third's a third no matter where you take it, but this one doesn't let you drop right to the main after killing it, so it's going to be kind of nice having a bit of space. Back off, man, you're too needy.
Yeah. I don't know about taking that base, though. It's like he's not double expanding, and I guess it's kind of secret, so there's kind of that much going for it. Well, we'll see how that works out. Snute only went for the Carapace upgrade, which it makes a lot of sense, actually. You don't really need that +1 if you're going to be spending more on Ravagers and Queens to target Medivacs. It's like kind of nice to have, but the 100 minerals under gas going to something else. So this is not uncommon to see.
It's interesting watching what Snute puts his priority on for this, too, when it comes to the Corsair Bile. So one side you want to aim at the tank so that it's forced to pick up. You can't sit there and shoot. On the other, if you can catch any amount of the bio or one of those Medivacs, that's so much better for it. But they're a lot more mobile and harder to hit. Snute, by the way, is somebody who is very comfortable with this composition. Roach's Ravagers is one thing, but if he gets the layer tech and throws in an infestation pit, that's going to be his jam.
Yeah. And that should be where he's looking for. He may have already been able to get it if it wasn't for the third being canceled like it was. As he only just now gets his third base saturated, not even with the gases quite yet. Does take a fourth base. And it looks like it won't be denied here. It looks like Snute finally had enough units correctly split up to deal with HeroMarine. But HeroMarine, I think really all he has to do is choose one line of attack and just dedicate all of his army to it. And it should be a decent amount of pressure. Again, a lot because the investors aren't going to be out quite yet. And even if they are, they won't have the fungals ready. Well, but it's not coming out yet. There we go.
That really is where it gets difficult fighting Snute, right? On one side of it, you can't really split drop all over the place. Snute's really good at reacting. On the other side, if you try and take the head-on engagement you just described that is happening right now, that's also the perfect lineup for Snute to fight you all consolidated one spot, Corsair Biles, fungal growths, you name it. Still, no fungals in play, by the way. Focusing entirely on these Roaches and Raptors for the time being. The first infestors are on the way.
I really feel like if HeroMarine knew that third base was taken, he would be pressuring that instead of this. Because it can be hard to get up the ramp, although he is allowed up the ramp. That's already surprising for Snute to let him do that. He can bring his tanks forward too soon.
I think Snute's trying to bait a fight away from the tanks too, hence the awkward scuffling to the left. But scans on, sees no infestors yet. That's going to be a bit deceptive. These ones spawning, by the way, coming from the south, but they don't have pathogen lens. They're not going to be able to fungal right off the bat.
He backs off? Interesting.
Because, yeah, he could have at least killed the third, I feel like. Ran to the north as he, like, ran out.
Yeah. Okay, finally, he's like, wait a second. You can't possibly have a third base that's not mining. You wouldn't have an army. Yeah. So he scanned the fourth, the top, and then he realized what was going on.
The annoying thing about this base, too, is HeroMarine can totally put tanks in positionings to abuse the terrain here. So whether they're here on the ledge or on this little corner, like, Snute can't exactly easily move into it. But that's where the fight's going to have to go down towards the south. Creep spread isn't that far out. He's only just getting the creep tumors down. But this time around, there's infestors. It's not a lot, but 2 does a lot of damage when units can't run away for those Corsair Biles.
Yeah. It's still pretty worried for Snute. He's got to get those good fungals. Scan goes down. He sees that they're available. Are they going down anywhere? Not really.
Splits out of HeroMarine, but unfortunately, as he splits, he also opens up his tanks to vulnerability. Corsair Biles coming down top of those Medivacs, unable to do much. Marauder's pushing this back. It's a pretty good trade for both sides of this.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It was his splits that kind of let everything get a little bit more chaotic than it should have, but he needed split because he couldn't get fungaled. And that one fungal that actually hit was, okay, not fantastic. And that was all of his fungals. So as HeroMarine continues to push here, it'd be a little bit better if he had already broken on the rocks, but still it's a pretty close pushing point. It looks very scary for Snute. HeroMarine's not getting a fourth base on location as well. It's going to be returned to a planetary, so if he does get pushed back, he shouldn't be pushed farther than that. He's going to lose a fifth base. It seemed like kind of a stretch anyway. He had barely saturated his fourth. He'd need a fifth.
Corsair Bile's going to try and land. I mean, he's got a lot of Ravagers still left over from those previous fights. Really needing more fungal growth, but those are about 10 seconds away from having the energy for it. Roach is on the left side getting kind of corralled. Does take out a medevac with him.
Oh, that line of reinforcements. Perfectly timed.
Well, he hits most of the Marauders with it, though, and the Fungals hit that left side, but there's no follow-up because he used all the Ravagers on the right!
Oh, there we go. Got the last second, however, and the tanks, only 3 of them will be saved as that one rallies in. No, it is not!
Oh, that last shot denied.
Yeah.
Even then,
I was gonna say,
a rough spot.
HeroMarine probably should have gone for a second factor, and I guess he did, but only just recently. If he had twice as many tanks, that would have been game over already. And Stu's able to push him back. That's a little bit surprising. This HeroMarine had a very good foothold. He also had decent upgrades that entire time. I think he started off the fights an upgrade ahead. Or 2 upgrades ahead, rather, and now a single upgrade ahead.
Well, the scan continues to keep eyes on what's going on. HeroMarine does establish his base as a planetary. I'm not sure if he's thinking about taking too many more expansions just yet himself, but his main is starting to mine out. We might see him flip that over northwards, but hopefully he does it before the tumors start blocking it out. Snoot's got some pretty wicked creep spread.
Yeah. Gonna take his 5th now at a more expected location, I would say, to the north, and since HeroMarine is focusing entirely to the south, that might just get up without a problem. HeroMarine might start thinking about drops soon, but really televisioning on this 4th base. And not in a bad way either. Like, at any point, he probably could take an engagement and he could steamroll, but there also could be argued he could have a drop going off which way.
Oh, oops, I just... Shoot, I can't remember what button I pressed.
Oh god, well, fix it. I don't know what's happening. That was a really good engagement for HeroMarine. He just got a lot of roach that were covering the Ravagers, and Snute was missing a lot of fungals, basically. The tank count has also increased quite a bit because he did start producing 2 at a time, and that's going to be very difficult for only 2 infestors to help clean up. They get a decent fungal there, but there's like, okay, the difference between 4 tanks and like 6 or 7 tanks is huge for being able to follow through after getting the bio cleared up.
And that's that's the 10 tanks in play. That's the double factory production we finally have at a HeroMarine. And what I pressed was Control W, it appears. I keep forgetting that turns off the overlay, and I always forget what the buttons are to fix that.
Oh. Well, you can see at least on screen that the fight went well, regardless of the stats.
Yeah, who needs a mini-map anyways, am I right?
Yeah.
Oh wait,
it looks
it's
like HeroMarine...
the most important thing.
He's actually kind of pushing to win here. One fungal could do a devastating amount to either the tanks that are clumped up or the bio.
On that side. Medevac's getting picked off for it too, but there's so many tanks still on 10 despite losing 5. This isn't so bad. Wow, I didn't realize 126 Marines have died. Ouch. Poor guys.
Oh. It really looks like HeroMarine's gonna win.
I don't know if he's
up
coming to
30
forces just yet, though. He's really... Like, maybe, but like as we see the tanks being taken up, of course, the Biles, this flanking army comes in a little bit late, but they do catch the Infestors, and maybe if Snute had more Infestors, this would look like a different game. I don't know, but the Roaches and the Ravagers are pretty much gone. HeroMarine's got that rally. GG.
Good job at HeroMarine.
Very good job. Takes that first map, but again, well, we said earlier, HeroMarine has only gotten better since he finished up school and has got to focus more on StarCraft. Second map's going to be Frost, guys. We're going to a tiny commercial break before then, so we'll see you guys soon. Alright, we're back. Hello, everybody. Loading into map 2 just in time. You haven't missed any of the action. Spawning here in the upper right side of the map. He's actually down 1 in the series. It's going to be Team Liquid's Snute.
In the top left as the blue Terran, he is HeroMarine.
And I guess oddly enough, my UI gaff, a couple of people saying they like not seeing the UI during the fight. My problem is, though, I guess if there is one big fight where nothing else is going on, that's totally cool. But that's rarely the case in StarCraft 2. Normally, you know, we can only watch over here, but you on the minimap can see like the drop going off on the top side while that's happening, or vice versa. So I personally am not a fan of turning the UI off. And I mean, Game Heart's already as minimalistic as it gets. If you guys remember, the old UI used to take up literally a third of the screen.
Yeah. That was understandable when the professionals, you know, once they got actually dedicated observers, would take away the overlay. That was pretty legit. But I agree on your points about just watching the minimap and whatnot.
I feel like Game Art already opens up the screen for so much opportunity to see things. Like this is huge. This is like you can like 90% of the screen is open and available at all times.
Yeah. It's a good addition to StarCraft, that's for sure. Well, Frost does not get cross spawn, which would have been nice for Snute. Instead, gets horizontal spawn, which is actually pretty decent for HeroMarine if he does want to continue using tanks like he did, which I would guess he would, just because Snute does roaches, you know? Like, if Snute was the type of player to go for either roaches or mutilating bling, sometimes you don't like tanks versus one or the other. You know, tanks can still be used against mutilating bling, but some people like doing Wood Mines, of course. Oh god.
Huh.
The doorbell rang.
Woof, woof. Well, I know that feeling. My dog's at this point now where, unfortunately, we've got a lot of raccoons, so I'm getting 2 a.m. freakouts that I have to deal with because they like start barking at the wall because you can hear or smell the raccoons on the other side of it. I'm like, God, dude, just chill out.
Occasionally my cats will be like hissing or making that like guttural sound, you know, because the neighbor's cat's outside. Occasionally it's a deer or a fox though, and that's always fun.
I love foxes. I know we've talked about this a ton, but I love foxes.
Yeah, it's really sad because my area is getting like heavily developed. It used to be like when we moved here, it was like roosters in the morning, you know, but now it's even more developed, and there's like a lot of foxes on the side of the road, and it's like being kicked out of their home and stuff. And it's really sad.
Coodle-doo.
Coodle-doo. Yeah, it's the exact sound he made.
Still gonna go for fast overload speed. Something I really enjoy about watching him is the fact that A, he's such a smart guy that B, the overload speed always benefits him. That not suicided overlord, the ability to consistently scout before layer, not have to worry on an overseer. I love it. And we could back this up for a second too and remind people that watching people die or fall behind or react to like 3-rack sweeper is always a little bit frustrating. There are many Zerg out there who are like top players who will say 3-rack sweeper should be a free win, right? If done correctly. Then there's a lot of Terrans who say like I can never make this work. It really comes down to point of view, experience, and practice. But one thing's for certain is that HeroMarine is good enough to have really screwed Snute's opening by doing that last game. He doesn't do it this map because, well, it's 4-player spawn and why take that risk? But I would love to see Snute bring this back, and then like in my perverted perfect final match, you'd have like HeroMarine once again go for 3-rack Reaper, but Snute shut it down that time instead of falling to it.
And there's been a string of 3-rack Reapers on Frost, so it's not even like the most insane thing to do anymore. But I agree, I love the Overlord speed. Whenever I see a Zerg player not get it, I always think that it should be the rarity, I guess, and getting it should be the norm.
It's really not expensive too, and when they moved on to hatchery tech instead of layer tech, I went completely the wrong direction with that. I enjoy players who can use it well, I guess is a better way to phrase that, because you can just go Overlord speed and it won't get you anything done. The other big benefit is like, let's say, hey, it's Frost, you want to drop some units in the main? Those speed Overlords can get it done.
Yeah, there is something to be said. Like, I know Nurtio doesn't get it, right? Because there's not much happening right now. There's roaches on the way, I suppose. I don't think it's going to be used to attack. But Nurtio, I remember, doesn't get it. Unless I'm severely misremembering.
He used to, actually. If you remember back in the days of like Detox and stuff, when he was a lot more drop-heavy, he used to get it all the time.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, not so much for scouting anymore. Up drops commence. But anyway, there's other ways to scout what they're doing, and you can kind of depend on that. You can also just depend on your knowledge of timings. You know, so it's like, check, they didn't go for Hellbat timing, check, there's not Banshees, check, I have units in preparation for this 5-minute drop, right? Which is the most common thing to prepare for, so most Zergs are prepared against this. So it's always cool to see Zergs not spend 100 and still know what's going on, but it's extra safe to do what Snute does. And he never really seems to be hurt because of the investment either. And HeroMarine is just instantly denied, and that actually kind of sucks. At the very least, you'd want this unloaded, roaming around, scaring the Zerg player, and it's now just stuck in the medevacs, not sure what to do with life.
Yeah, I mean, it was Snute first, right? Mr. Queen Heavy himself that really started scaring a lot of Terrans before you even had the range upgrade come into play. I was constantly talking about how like all those medevacs would regularly get denied. But it's funny because the buff to the Queen range, forcing 2 medevacs instead of 1, made that push a lot stronger. Like, you kind of wonder, like, well, why didn't Terrans just do that before?
Right? Yeah, it's still being developed. A lot of, like, these attacks that are so normal right now, like the 3-rack Reaper or like the 2-base drop, the follow-through wasn't perfected, I would say. But now it's like everyone follows through with this very easily to a 3rd base and doesn't really stall you out game long-term. In fact, it lets you really easily get into a very nice game with a very dedicated mid-game and a fairly okay late game, depending on how you play it. And HeroMarine being very aggressive here. This is where the abuse of tanks, I brought this up in the beginning, is very good on Frost, especially horizontal spawn.
That's an interesting stimment too. He got really right on top of the queens, both of them getting really low, and he tried to focus fire them and kept swapping for the transfuses, and then pulled away before killing either. So a little bit awkward there, but tanks in a pretty nice spot. Ravager's not using the Corsair Biles on them, but trying to push back the Bio. The Bio not doing a bad job, still buffering for said tanks. Medevac's got enough health that they should be able to fly out of here safely, but he might not need to fly away. He might just wait with his fights.
I was about to say, I really don't think you're... Well, you're not supposed to, right? But, I mean more like, I would have expected reinforcements to clean this up, but they're not. The drones can't go back to... The third base is down, and the drones, I guess, could try and go to the fourth base with tanks there. That's not going to be too successful, and this could be a very similar game to last game, where Snute, you know, holds on and actually gets a couple of infestors, but it will be like last game, the fact that he has been cut down a peg or two, and HeroMarine's doing a great job. As long as he doesn't do any severe mishaps, this is just a win for him.
I mean, I want to point out, too, watching Snute play, he's not playing too sloppy, he's not underreacting. It's just awesome watching HeroMarine perform exceedingly well.
Yeah. I guess it's worth noting that HeroMarine did not follow this up with 2 engineering bays and the fastest third command center, but third command center is so well timed. It just was the lack of the second engineering bay that made this a little bit different, and maybe a little bit more powerful, which Snute wasn't expecting. And that's pretty important. It wasn't just that Snute is like super off his game today, although I mean maybe he is. I don't know, but it's that I think specifically in this game it was just a little bit different. And otherwise, he would have been totally prepared.
By the way, just to clarify, I'm sure this is a little bit of trolling, but I want to make sure everyone's fully aware. HeroMarine is a really awesome young German kid playing StarCraft 2. Marine Lord is a French kid playing StarCraft 2. So, not the same person.
No. Well, they do both like Marines.
Well, funny enough, I'd argue that HeroMarine likes tanks a lot in this series. They've been his best friend so far.
The tanks are doing wonders for him, that's absolutely true. And it's very good to use on this particular map in these positions. So every time I see a Terran not use it, I'm just like, well, there's a point necessarily, but I'm just like, okay, I guess you don't want to use tanks today, that's fine, that's whatever. They were banned in the heart of the swarm, and they finally have their heyday here, but whatever.
So I really thought there would be a lot more momentum following this up for HeroMarine, leading into like just rallying to win, but Snute actually manages to establish that base back. He's mining off them into the north, and he's really not looking so much worse for wear. I thought he would be in a much worse position following up that loss.
I think it is very similar to last game. The third base was denied a little bit later, and that affects it one way or the other, but I think that he would have had faster infestors had he not lost that third base like that. It's similar to last game. And the timing of the infestors was pretty important. The amount of infestors he could afford was very important.
Yeah, and he gets pathogen glands. Snute really does not often get pathogen glands, by the way. This tells me he's actually really paranoid about the push timing following this up. Because Snute is a player who, like, 9 games out of 10 doesn't go for pathogen glands until he's, like, 20-25 minutes in the game.
Taking a fight like this up against 3 tanks, 3 tanks is not devastating, but he was unable to take the bio out, I think, as quickly as he thought he was able to. That might have something to do with the +2 not being done until literally just right now. That actually was a severe anti-timing for Snute.
It's interesting he's putting a lot more emphasis here on the Carapace. Tells me he's not really looking to take direct like auto attack fights, and it's a lot more about the fungal growth, the corrosive bile combos, destroying whatever they can get their hands on.
Gosh, HeroMarine's playing a great PvZ.
He really is. The position in these tanks is nice too. I love that he's not even flying all of them over. Like, he's got them just manually sieging and unsieging, a little bit safer at times. Especially when you got all your medevacs healing what little bio there's in that front line. Infestors coming out though, looking for those fungal growths, land on some of the medevacs. There's those corrosive biles. Follow-up's not too bad, but HeroMarine's still taking a pretty good fight.
Yeah, his tanks aren't being killed. Because he went for the medevacs first and then the bio, the tanks were able to just totally obliterate most of the army. Reinforcements coming in, not the longest distance either, because he chose his attack path, and that's it.
That's it. That's game. That's series, ladies and gentlemen. HeroMarine takes the 2-0 over like the king of Zerg, Snute himself.
What is happening today? So many 2-0s I didn't expect.
Well, the nice thing is, for all the fans out there, it's a winner's bracket, loser's bracket scenario, so even if you have a bunch of 2-0s that you totally did not see coming, your favorite players get knocked out early, they still have extra lives down below. I gotta give an extra big shout out to Bunny, by the way, who is tearing through the top half of the bracket. He cannot go to Korea. He's playing this, I think, mostly to prove to himself, / take on the challenge of all these players. Last night he was tweeting at me like, yeah, it'll be awkward if I win. I was like, just forfeit your spot then, man, who cares? Show them that you're the boss! At any rate, though, this doesn't have an opponent ready just yet, but this means HeroMarine will play against you Thermal, most likely, as he's up 1-0 over Nurchio. Maybe finally tearing his Imba. Something about Beyond winning, just surge this valor and inspiration and just
Actually, what it might have been was that Beyond was streaming this morning, so everyone was very
copying his builds.
Yeah.
Alright, well, I don't know what we'll cast next. I gotta tell you, a Laser versus Mana or Drogo looks really appealing.
Drogo,
there we go. Probably do a Laser versus Drogo then, because it's ready to go now, and the other semifinals are still waiting up. So, we'll find out. Either way, commercial break. While we sort things out, we'll see you guys in a couple minutes.